So this week, I have been doing the recording for our debt demolition course, which is part of our mini money makeover and one of the courses that we're doing to just really help people get their financial stuff together and really be in control of their finances. And it's been a really interesting experience. So, welcome to this week's Happy Money Journey podcast. I am Phoebe Blamey and I am the best-selling author of The Happy Money Journey, and I am so very pleased to be here. So, as I was saying, this week I have been doing our debt destruction course, and I've been doing all the recordings for it, and we've been going through all the worksheets which my team are putting together for it and all the slides and everything like that. And one of the things that we've worked on in the mini money makeover is going through and sorting out our mindset first and then working from our mindset to developing strategies around how we're dealing with our money. So it goes mindset and then it goes practical. And I was thinking about it this morning because debt spirals and debt is in itself is so shaming and so anxiety inducing and so debilitating. I was thinking of making a change to the course even and just talking about how action really needs to precede mindset when you're dealing with debt. So today I wanted to talk about debt and let's say 3 ways to get yourself out of debt and back into control of your finance. So let's start with what is debt. And debt is any money that you owe anyone. So it's, the money that I borrowed from my best friend to grab a coffee when I'd left my purse behind. But it's also the money that I owe on my home, on my investment property. It's the money that I owe on any credit cards. If I had buy now, pay later, it would be the money I owe on that. I don't. Any late payments, any bills, any overdues, any loans, debts, anything like that. That is debt. That is where we are in debt. And to balance out our debt, we look at our assets. So we look at what we've actually got with that debt. And what we find often is that, yes, we've got some assets backing up our debt. So we own our home or our investment properties. We've got loans behind that, but we've also may have unsecured debt. So debt that it isn't actually keeping in touch with our assets. So let's say personal loans that have been for a purpose that hasn't added value to anything. Credit cards, which have been just to buy the stuff that we buy. And I don't know about you, but I was in $35,000 worth of credit card debt back in 2009 when I was broken up with, the story. And I really had that big problem of feeling overwhelmed. But the other thing was, what had I spent that money on? I, to this day, cannot either remember or justify what happened with that money. Perhaps some of it was on my daughter's school fees. Perhaps some of it was on, food and clothes and stuff like that. But a lot of it would have been just on crap. And I know myself, I know it would have been that dopamine hit that you get when you go shopping. And that's why these buy now, pay laters are so successful, because you get that hit when you go shopping. And it's easy then to get into debt to get there. And debt is made, and particularly unsecured high interest debt is made really easy for us to get. And it's a danger to us because it can really cause us to be undone. I was talking to one of my clients the other day. She was given a huge promotion at work. She's had a whole lot of issues with getting on top of her credit card debt. And she gets there for a little while, but then she gets back up again. And the interesting thing is the credit card companies keep giving her more money. And they're not really allowed to do that anymore. So she actually has to apply for it now, whereas in the past you could just click a button and do a limit increase. But she's in a good financial position wage-wise, so it looks like she's got the ability to afford it. What needs to be taken into consideration is her actual spending and her actual patterns, because that's where we come undone with our credit card. So tip 1, when it comes to debt, and particularly unsecured debt and buy now, pay later debt, you need to know yourself. You need to know if you are the kind of person that can Take a buy now, pay later, pay it off in the amount of time that you need to pay it off and not be charged any interest. Same with credit cards. You need to know that you can spend on your credit card and pay it off at the end of the month so that you don't incur that 20 or 30% interest that happens on credit cards. If you are not that person, this may not be the financial product for you. And if you've already got these credit cards that are already at or near their limits, that's another way of knowing yourself around how you treat credit card debt is, are you now in the position where your credit card debts are all so high that you're just paying down a little bit and then spending on it again, paying down with the minimum payment and spending on it again? Because if you look at those credit card statements, they've now got how long it will take you to pay out that card based on the minimum repayment. And that's a big jump in the way that credit cards are looked at, but not very helpful for you if you're already feeling all the shame spiral, anxiety, and all of that sort of stuff around having that debt in the first place. Because that's one of the things that we really, really need to fix around credit cards. So tip one, when it comes to debt, know yourself, know how you're going to be treating that debt. And this can be for you, or it can be just you listening and picking up that this is what someone in your life is like with their credit cards. You know them. They've got lots of stuff. They've always got something new. You sort of look at it and think, hang on a minute, your income wouldn't support that kind of purchasing. There's something else going on here. And there's something else that's going on here, and this is the part of knowing yourself when it comes to debt, is that when you shop, you get that dopamine hit. When you shop, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel in control for about the 10 minutes that you're buying something. Then you get home and you've got the sweeping anxiety that goes with having this much debt. What have I done? Why did I do that? You're too embarrassed to take it back or send it back or whatever. You're now in the shame spiral. So this is tip 2 on how to deal with credit card debt and big, bad, scary, ugly debts. Tip 2 is don't worry about your mindset. Your mindset is not going to be okay around debt. You are going to be in shame and anxiety, and it's awful, right? It's just horrible. So before you change your mindset, before you do anything else, you need to take some sort of action. And action in this particular case, and this is what I was thinking about, comparing it to just getting in control of your finances and working out where your money goes and how to set up your bank accounts so that you're really clear about your money, which is the whole premise of the mini money makeover. And yes, mindset is going to come into it. But with debt, the first thing you need to do is take action. And then your mindset will follow. So when it comes to debt, take action, and then your mindset will start getting a little bit of clarity around it, because it's the taking action that's really going to make the difference here. So we want to take action, and that action can be taking the credit cards out of your wallet and putting them in a drawer so that you're just not tempted to spend on them. It can be doing a course like the debt demolition course that we've got attached to the mini money makeover. It can be just picking up a book or going through some videos on YouTube. It can be doing anything that talks about how to get rid of your debt, how to bring your debt down. And there are options around it, but the first option is stop spending on that card. The second is to know exactly what that card is costing you. The third is, if you are in financial hardship because of this card or because of your spending, call them. Let them know you're in financial hardship. Ask them to freeze the interest. Ask them to reduce the repayments. Ask them to put you on a payment plan to pay it out. You can do all of those things. You need to take responsibility. Leave the cards in a drawer and start working out a plan to pay them off. Start with the smallest debt first. It's called the snowball method. Start with your buy now, pay laters and just add a little bit extra to them and just start paying them down. Again, if it's overwhelming, go to the financial institution and seek help. If you don't get help from the financial institution, go to a financial counselor and get help. whatever you do, get help, because you need to get yourself out of this. And it's hard. And it's particularly hard because you are in, well, what I was in, a state of constant hypervigilance around where my money was. How much did I have on this card? How much did I have on that card? What could I spend? Would I need to use 2 cards at the supermarket checkout? Could I just keep everything under? I'm walking around with a trolley and I'll never forget it, and counting things as I'm putting them in. Will I have enough money when I get to the checkout? Will I be able to do this? And it's a constant question that you're asking yourself when you're in that debt spiral. So taking responsibility and kind of working out where you're at and making approaches toward the people that are lending you the money is such a good first start, because then you're getting the dopamine hit, not from shopping, but from actually doing a little bit of self-care and a little bit of self-love. Because that's what it is when we start taking care of ourselves, and start taking care of ourselves in particular around debt. It's easy to get into a lot of debt. As I said, there's a lot of structure around getting in a lot of debt. So that responsibility piece is the most important piece, the most important thing that you can do. And then the third thing, the very final thing, when you're looking at credit card debt and how you're going to actually approach your credit card debt and your buy now, pay laters and your all the things that are overwhelming, is to have a solid plan going forward. What is your next move? What do you need to do, and how do you want your future to look? And this is where, once you've done the how are you with debt, and you've got to know yourself, and then you've taken responsibility and approached the lenders and made plans on how you're going to pay it out, the next thing is how you're going to move forward in your future. Can you have credit card or buy now, pay later at all? How has this affected your credit report? What are you going to do if you go overseas or something like that? What are the best cards for you to have if you need to have cards? What is the best way of getting out of this habit of the buy now, pay laters? What are you actually physically going to do for yourself? Because herein is where the mindset needs to change. Herein is where you need to remind yourself that you are absolutely fucking fabulous. You are amazing. And you have done the best you could with the resources that you had available to you at the time. But now it's time to put on your big girl pants and grow up and really take control of what you want your future to look like. Because if you're sitting there swallowed up by credit card debt, you've let it happen to yourself. Face it. You know, it's not on purpose. It's been to get yourself out of certain situations, or it's been to help yourself move forward, or it's just simply been to help yourself feel better. But what are you going to do now that you've got a plan? So start with thinking about some of the things that you would actually normally be spending on your credit card. What are some of the things that you need to do for yourself? What are some of your needs, your basic needs, the things that make you feel wealthy but also in control? And this was a really difficult question for me to answer. I remember asking myself this right at the beginning of my happy money journey, right at the start. And I really needed an answer to it because it was really kind of confusing and difficult, and I didn't know what I was going to do, and I didn't know what I needed. So what do you need to make yourself feel wealthy? Because this is going to inform what we need to do going forward. Do you need fresh flowers? Do you need a really tidy house? Do you need your garden to be looking beautiful? Do you need to be walking around with designer handbags? What is it that you need that's going to make you feel good? And then the second part of this third part is, how are you going to achieve it? How are you going to put time aside for yourself? How are you going to make sure that you're actually meeting your needs? And one of the ways that I worked on discovering what I needed was by being a lot more mindful around myself. And you can do this in the simplest way by just putting a little alarm on your phone or a reminder on your phone, and every so often it'll pop up and it asks you, what do you feel right now? What's your actual feeling? And what do you need right now? And suddenly you start to build up a whole lot of things like, right now, I need a walk. Right now, I'm feeling anxious and angry, and I need to go outside and just be with nature. And as you start giving yourself, so as you start feeding your needs, then you come far away. You really remove yourself from needing that dopamine hit of shopping, because that dopamine hit of shopping is meeting a need. Yes, it's meeting your need to feel good, right? But you're not actually feeling good, because the flip side of that is that you're getting into debt. You've now taken responsibility for your debt, and you're moving forward into a brand new world where you've worked out, you're starting to work out what it is that I need, what it is that I actually makes me feel good, what it is that actually makes me feel wealthy, what is it that I really need in this moment right now. And you start writing those things down. And you follow that with, when you give yourself what you need, you follow that with just a slight little bit of gratitude. Just a slight, I'm grateful that I was able to meet my needs. I'm grateful that I've been able to jump into my credit card debt. I'm grateful that I've been able to make arrangements. I'm grateful that I've taken responsibility. I'm grateful that I am walking out in the sunshine. I'm grateful that I'm walking in the rain. I'm grateful that I'm here today. And I'm grateful that you're here today, because you're incredible and amazing. And these things are hard. So when we are faced with that overwhelming, horribleness of credit card debt, these are the things that I put in the debt demolition course that are really the way to break it down. First is, know yourself around debt, know how you treat debt, and therefore set some boundaries around what sort of debt you can have and can't have. Secondly, take responsibility, take massive action before you start fixing your mindset or manifesting a new world or anything like that. Take massive action, because action will then make you feel in control. And that in control feeling will allow you to do the third thing, is work out what it is that you need going forward. What are the things that you need that are going to make you feel better about life, about how you live, about what you're doing? 3 simple ways of just getting your head around your overwhelming and horrible debt. If you need more ways and you need more skills, please jump into our mini money makeover. It is online now, and we are really excited to be able to offer it to you. And if you're not ready for that yet, hop onto our show notes and we will show you a really quick way of implementing the 3 things that I've spoken about in today's podcast. So let's do it. Thank you again, as always, for being here, for listening, for being part of our community, and most of all, enjoy the journey. Don't forget, you can find us on all the socials at Happy Money Journey, and you can find me on LinkedIn at Phoebe Blamey. You can find more information about all the wonderful things that we have to offer you on phoebeblamey.com.au. I'll look forward to chatting with you again next time.